Hey guys, Laura here from Metal Wani, and today I'm really excited to be talking to Wolf Hoffmann from Accept. Welcome and thank you so much for your time today, Wolf. How's it going?
Yay, it's going great. It's going great.
Excellent. Wolf, just first off, how was 2016 for Accept? Would you be able to give us a quick overview of the year that you've had with Accept as well as your solo work?
Yeah, it's been a busy year again. I can't hardly believe it. But basically, been working all year on two things. First of all, new songs for an upcoming Accept album next year, and the other half, I was doing this personal project of mine, Headbangers Symphony. I was finishing that solo album and releasing it mid-year. So be a lot of work this year. Not a lot of touring, but next year will be a lot of touring.
Yeah, don't hold your breath for that. Or actually hold your breath for that because it won't be too long before you guys are out on the road.
Yeah, in 2 weeks or so we're leaving to do a quick, well, it won't be a quick run, but we're going to do a European run of about 3 months, and then after that, next year we'll finish the album, and another touring cycle will start for this new album then.
Amazing. I just wanted to talk about your upcoming DVD, if that's okay. You've got Restless and Live coming out on the 13th of January. So this is a live concert that was filmed from the Bang Your Head Festival in Germany in 2015. The last time Accept released a live video was in 2002 with Metal Blast from the Past. Why release a new one now? Was it just the right time for it, or, why?
It seemed like a perfect timing because we have 3 albums out, so there's a lot of new material that we wanted to showcase in the live version, and then we have 2 new members in the band. And if that's not enough, then we figured, since we toured so long for Blind Rage this time around, we thought this would be a perfect time, to release something in between until the next album comes out, so there won't be this long of a break. And fans have always asked for a live album, so here it finally is, and it seemed to be the perfect timing to finally do it.
Excellent. Accept toured a lot last year, bringing Blind Rage to the fans all across Europe.
Yeah.
You also did a bunch of the big European festivals, including Metal Days in Slovenia last year, where I actually got to see you guys play. Yeah, I was there. It was awesome. What made you decide to release the footage from Bang Your Head over all of the other shows that you did last year?
Very easy, because they filmed there, and we had filmed there in the past, and we knew the people, and we knew they were going to do a great job, and we didn't really agree to anything up front. We just watched the footage after the fact and decided it was fine. It was good to be released. But sometimes you do these things and you film a show and you wait and see, and after that you decide to wait for whatever reason, and it happened like that in the past many times, where you film the show but the timing isn't right and everything marches on and you forget about it. But in this case, we knew we needed material, or this would be a good timing to release a live album, and so yeah, we just filmed it because, and we liked the footage. We could have filmed it anywhere else as well, and sometimes we film a lot of shows.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not a lot, but it happens, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess with all the infrastructure of all those big festivals, it's all there for you already, right? So you can make use
in this
of it.
case, we actually knew that we wanted to add on, so we bought some extra stuff on board, some more cameras like they already. But even if we hadn't done that, it would have still been a really good quality DVD material,
Awesome. I've actually seen the DVD. I saw it this week and it was really awesome. The set list has got a really good blend of old and new Accept material. Now, you've probably kind of maybe already answered this for me, but did you have the DVD in mind when you built the set list for Bang Your Head, or was that more of
No, not at all. No, we always have the show in mind first and foremost. Mm-hmm. And actually, this was one of those things where originally it was said, we could play 2 hours, and then for some reason, miscommunication, like, I don't know, an hour before the show, it was like, oh no, it's only 90 minutes, so we had to go back and cut a bunch of stuff out, because, a festival always has somewhat of a tight schedule. You got to stick to it, because sometimes there's curfews, and in this case, I think there was a strict, midnight curfew or whatever it was, so we couldn't possibly play any longer. But to answer your question, we'll do the show for the crowd that's there, and and film what we do. We never really like play for the cameras.
Gotcha. The band looks so happy to be up on stage, and for me as a fan, it's a real joy to watch you guys really enjoying what you're doing. What's it like to be up on stage at a big festival like that? Could you describe that experience for us?
Man, it's like nothing else in the world, I have to tell you. I mean, this is the $1 million feeling usually. This is why we all do this. This is why we travel for 20 hours at a time to go places and do these crazy things that normal people would never in a million years do. Mm-hmm. Because the payback always is those moments on stage, man. Because musicians' life is not all glamorous, let me tell you. It's a lot of waiting, a lot of traveling, a lot of boring stuff. But those moments on stage, it's when it's all worthwhile, you know. And I always, now more than ever, when I'm up there, I realize that it's like, yeah, man, this is why I'm doing all this, and this is what I love.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like being up there, you starting a riff or a song, and everybody chimes in, everybody sings along, and man, it's like amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Some of those sing-alongs that are in the DVD just gave me, you know, the biggest smile on my face, like just sort of taking me back to Slovenia last year and just being so stoked to see, you know, the joy that you bring to everybody else who is in the audience, right?
Exactly. So I'm really enjoying the hell out of it. And let's face it, I mean, we're if we're not having fun, how can we expect the audience to have fun? I mean, it's like, sometimes I see musicians that sort of just stare at their shoes, and I don't know what that's all about. I mean, it's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be for the audience, and you want to entertain people, and you want to give it all you've got. You don't want to just stand there and do nothing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I love it, and so don't ever stop.
We're good.
I'd like to talk about the upcoming album now, if that's okay. You, like you just mentioned, you're in the middle of the songwriting process, and I'd imagine that it can be quite difficult to explain the sound of an album until it's completed. It might be a bit early in the process for me to be asking you this, but is there anything that you can tell us so far about the album? Will it maybe be a heavier sound compared to Blind Rage, or what do you got for us?
I can tell you it won't be dramatically different. It'll be, my feeling is, and this is strictly I mean, like you said, I'm way too close to it, and it's not even half finished, so I don't really know which turn it's going to take, but it feels pretty heavy in places, actually maybe a little heavier than Blind Rage, but that's all relative, you know. It feels that way to me. It doesn't mean like, I'm not making any sort of meaningful predictions here, it's just a gut feeling at this point. But it won't be any dramatically different, because we're really trying to sound like we always sounded, only as good as ever, better than ever, better, stronger songs, but not any like different directions per se. Gotcha.
You're heading out on tour for, it's about 3 months, I think, starting, well, in a couple of weeks, right after New Year. What is the rough timeline for the new album in terms of finishing the recording, mixing, mastering, setting up the release date, all of that kind of stuff, given that you'll be on the road for the first part of 2017?
Yeah, it's going to be a little challenging. I'm actually going to try to do some work on the road. Like I said, we've got a lot in the can already. We've got some basic tracks, so there's some material I'm going to try to take on the road and try to finish or make some progress while we're on the road. This usually doesn't work very well, but I'm going to try again. And if it doesn't work, there's still some time left after, right when we come back. And let's see, that's April, May is when we really have to get this stuff finalized. Because if we wanted to come out in July or August, that means if you count back 3 months or 2.5 months, which is what the label always asks for, then we have to deliver everything by maybe the end of, I don't know, May.
Yeah, no pressure.
But we've taken our time to write the songs all year, so it's been a good long process already. Sometimes we've been under much worse time pressure. This time it's actually quite cushy.
Oh, good, excellent. Well, I'll look forward to hearing an update in May then.
Yeah.
For sure. One of the things that I really love about Accept is how you guys have maintained the musical direction over the years. You're not afraid to step out a little bit, yet at the same time you also stay true to the band's original sound. Why is this so important for the band to follow this path?
Because we've sort of had a period in the 90s where we experimented a little bit, and for a lot of fans that was already way too much, but my excuse is the 90s were a difficult time for everybody. But having done all that, when we got back together 8 years ago with Mark Tornillo, we made a few sort of vows to ourselves. First of all, we wanted to write songs or albums that are meaningful and not just live off the past. We wanted to really make current albums that are as good as anything we've ever done in the past. That is one. And the other thing is, stylistically, we said we're not going to try stuff that we know is not going to work. We're not going to try a bunch of ballads. We're not going to try any radio hits. We're not going to do any of that sort of thing what we've already done in the past. You know, we know what we should sound like. We know the style that Accept is known for. And we thought we knew what the fans want to hear from us. And that's what we try to do. Try to do what you do best and not try to be somebody else.
Yeah, excellent. I love that. For me, personally, because I'm a huge Accept fan, and for me, everything about your music is just, in my mind, awesome. Like, it's heavy, it's anthemic, it's chaotic, but also has that sort of original Accept signature sound. Not many bands can do that as consistently as Accept has. For me, Blind Rage was about as good as a heavy metal album gets these days. What's the band's vision for future records?
Pretty much just keep doing that. I mean, and I'm fully aware that it gets harder and harder, and you know, it's like one of those things when you've done 15 studio albums, like in our case, or more, or whatever, then it doesn't get easier. And that's, I think, the main reason why a lot of these bands that have been in the business as long as we have been, they just take 5 years or longer just to come up with something that really excites them, because there's so many songs you have already written, and that's what you get measured by, and it gets harder and harder. But so far we're still going strong, so hopefully we can keep doing it for a long time to come.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of, looking forward to maybe some potential tour ideas that I might have for you, would you guys ever consider playing, an album in its entirety? So, for example, I know that Balls to the Wall just had its 33rd anniversary earlier this month. Could we potentially see a 35th Balls to the Wall anniversary tour in a couple of years?
I'm going to go all out there and say no. And here's why. I mean, we have played an album in its entirety in the past, Restless and Wild, at a show one time in Switzerland. And we might do that again, but I just don't like these ideas of having 35 years anniversary, 40 years, all these anniversaries all the time, because to me that's like living in the past.
Gotcha.
And we're really trying to live in the present. We're trying to make albums that are, like I said earlier, that are relevant and meaningful, and that's what we focus our energy on. Although we have plenty of reasons to, the other thing is we could do an anniversary every damn year, because it's always 35 years, 40 years, something always happened along those lines all the time. We've done so many albums that we could now celebrate. We never get out of that anniversary cycle, and everybody else and their sister is already doing it, and I think it's getting old, and we don't want to be part of it. So
gotcha. Fair enough.
We're not gonna celebrate the history quite as much.
Fair enough. I won't be too disappointed then.
Maybe if we run out of ideas, then we might do all that kind of stuff. But for now, we march forward and make new albums, and that's what we're going to focus on.
I love that. Just a couple of questions left, Wolf, and these are probably a little bit selfish on my part, but are there any plans for Accept to be coming to North America soon?
Yes, there are. As soon as this next album is going to be released, we're going to be touring that, supporting that, and part of that world tour will be the U.S., for sure.
Excellent.
In what extent and what form and shape, I don't know, but we'd love to do a full-blown US tour again, because last few times that we've been in the US, or North America, I should say, it was usually just a few shows in California and on the East Coast, and maybe a show in Canada or something like that, but not a full-blown tour, with a bus and that whole thing. And hopefully we can try to get that together.
Excellent. And the last question that I have for you right now is, and this is totally a selfish question, but, when you brought out Headbangers Symphony earlier this year, it was, I really, really enjoyed it. And I just think personally would love to see that on the road as a fan. Do you have any plans to tour Headbangers Symphony in the future?
Yes. Maybe not as much of a tour, but it's more we're scheming on a live presentation, like a world premiere next year at some point. I can't really tell you quite specifics yet, but it's in the works and it's going to be awesome. That's all I know.
Excellent. Well, that's great news to me. Is there anything else that you would like to add, Wolf? I know we've only got a couple of minutes here, so anything that I've missed that you wanted to cover?
No, actually by my clock we're already 2 minutes over, but it's all good. No, we talked about a bunch of stuff. I'm glad you like the new album, so make sure spread the word, and check out the audio CDs as well. It's not just the DVD. There's a whole bunch more audio tracks on the audio CD part of the package. So
excellent. Well, just a reminder to everyone that Restless and Live will be out on January 13th, 2017. So if you go to www.acceptworldwide.com, you can get some more information on that. And everybody be sure to check out Accept on tour with Sabaton across Europe starting in January. Wolf, thank you so much for your time today. It's been awesome talking to you, and I hope we get to chat again soon.
Thanks. It was great. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.